All right, everybody. Welcome aboard. And we're here to talk.
423 Golf Delta, climb maintain 6,000.
Okay, we're headed up to 23 Golf Delta. Here to talk to you about wealth creation. Now, we learned last week that wealth is created when we combine ingenuity and effort to create usable, desirable resources. So, how is it, if you break that down further, how is wealth created? So, wealth is created three basic ways. You buy low, sell high, add value, or solve problems. Now, there's four ways that your wealth can create wealth. Those are the investment classes. We'll cover those later. But right now, I want to cover the basics because it's foundational to creating more wealth. This is how wealth is created. Each form of wealth creation can be broken down to one of these three or a combination of these three. So, first, let's talk about problem solving problems. Most people create wealth by solving problems.
Number 23 Golf Delta, contact Great Lakes Approach 127.7.
127.7, 23 Golf Delta.
Make that 118.8 for 3 Golf Delta.
Okay, 18.8 for 3 Golf Delta.
Thanks.
Hold on a second. Great Lakes Approach, 23 Golf Delta's up.
Skyhawk 23 Golf Delta, Great Lakes Approach, altimeter Flint 3048.
048, 23 Golf Delta. Okay, so back to solving problems. Most people get paid to solve problems. And there's kind of two basic ways to earn more money by solving problems. How is it that you say, I want to increase my income, and your primary means of gathering income is solving problems? Okay, there's two basic ways for this. I just want to take in this moment for a second. This is amazing.
337 Foxtrot, Great Lakes Approach, altimeter at Flint 3048. 3048, 37 Foxtrot. Skyhawk 23 Golf Delta, you still direct to Traverse City?
That's affirmative. All right, let me get squared away here for a second. So, we're back to solving problems. Two ways that you can increase your income by solving problems. The first way is to learn to solve more difficult problems. Solving problems is a function, making a lot of money solving problems is a function of two things. One, the demand of the problem, and two, the difficulty of solving that problem. Because if everybody could do it, everybody would do it. So, for instance, let's say you could learn to do something very difficult. You came to me, you said, hey, I've got a skill, I can repair cassette tape players. Okay, well, there's not much demand for that. That may be difficult, but there's not much demand for that. So, you're going to have to solve a hard problem that has some demand. Now, let's say if you can straighten a car fender, you're going to make straightening a car fender money. But if you can straighten teeth, you're going to make straighten teeth money. And trust me, after 4 kids in orthodontics, they make good money. If you can deliver the mail, that's good. If you can deliver babies, then that's a harder problem to solve. So, especially when there's complications involved. Learn to solve harder problems. Now, when I was growing up, I wanted to avoid problems. I didn't want to do anything with problems. I wanted a problem-free life. In fact, when the teacher said, hey, do these problems in the book, we all lobbied the teacher. Hey, can we just do the odds or the evens? We didn't want to do all the problems. We just wanted to do half of them. So we kind of trained ourselves to avoid problems. Well, that's just not a good way to live if you want to make good money, because you have to focus and discipline yourself to learn to solve more difficult problems. The other way that you can do this, maybe you're not a gifted genius, but you can solve easy problems for a lot of people. Just expand the number of people that you serve. So, for instance, if I came to you and said, hey, how many of you could cook a better hamburger than McDonald's? Go ahead, just raise your hand. How many of you could cook a better hamburger? Well, I see most of you could actually do that, and that's great. But if you can make a better product, why isn't it true that you don't sell millions of them like McDonald's does? Well, because the genius of McDonald's is not in the product. It's in the ability to create that product quickly and consistently all the way around the world so that they can give or sell thousands of those things a day. So what they did is they went to work on creating systems to deliver, which is essentially a mediocre product, to many people. They solved an easy problem. All of us could do that. But they did it in a way that expanded their reach. They served more people. And if you want to make more money, here's a big question you have to begin asking yourself. How can I serve more people? Because one of the big keys to wealth creation is that wealth only transfers from person to person. That's why so much wealth is concentrated in cities, because wealth is only transferred from person to person. So how can I serve more people? That's how the super rich get rich. They serve more people. If you think of money, the money in your pocket, every dollar bill is a thank you note. It's a thank you note given to you by people that you served. They appreciated it so much, they gave you a thank you note in the form of money. So if you want more money, find more people to thank you. Find more people to serve. So those that are super wealthy, if they didn't get it by stealing or having the government somehow give it to them, they did it by serving other people. And so that's an important point. I pray, God, how can I serve more people, solving harder problems or easy problems for multitudes of people? The second way to create wealth is to add value. And adding value is taking something that could be better and adding your time and expertise.
Archer 37 Foxtrot, do you want to talk to Detroit and weigh in the Pontiac today? Yeah, if we could for 37 Foxtrot. Roger, not a problem.
Taking your time and expertise and adding value all along the way. So mechanics do this. People who are gifted mechanically can take something that's broken and essentially useless or nearly worthless, and then they add their time and expertise and they create value there. They add value, and people can fix cars and sell them for more than they purchased it. People will buy houses and fix them up and sell them for more than they're worth. They add value. So people who build things, they take raw material and They assemble that through their time and expertise to add value. And you think of manufacturing. Manufacturing takes raw materials from the earth, and then those materials are used to build something with value added every step along the assembly line. So think of this, we got the actor there in your paper, and that actor, he makes about $30 million a picture. Well, he's solving problems. Now, he must solve problems for a lot of people, and difficult problems to make $30 million a movie, Johnny Depp. What problems is he solving for people? Well, boredom. People are bored. A lot of people are bored. They want to be entertained, and so he helps solve that problem for them. You look at the surgeon there. The surgeon is solving difficult problems, so surgeons make big money. Anybody can cut you. It takes someone with skill to put you back together again. Then you look at, I think her name's Amy Mars, of the Mars family. How did the Mars family become one of the wealthiest families in the world? Well, the way they did it was to invent the M&M candy. And they added value to chocolate, peanuts, and that little candy coating at around the perimeter of the M&M. And it makes something that, well, let's just say I spent a fair amount of money on those M&Ms. They've added value all along the way. Kohler, the man Kohler there, what does he make? What's he famous for? They manufacture toilets. That's an in-demand problem. But taking that porcelain, there's a lot of raw materials. You just don't pick toilets off trees, so you have to manufacture them. He's adding value, and so there's a lot of opportunities for fixing things and selling.
Departure Delta 2396, checking on with you out at 2 for 3,000.
And selling them.
2396, Great Lakes departure radar contact, climb maintain 9,000.
I'm out at 9,000, Delta 2396.
So the third way to make money is to buy low, sell high. And in order to do that, what you're doing is you're creating a market.
2396, turn left, heading a 080 vector for your climb.
Left 080, Delta 2396.
We're flying over Flint's airspace right now, so it's a little busy. So when you're creating a market, you're buying low, you're selling high. And in the process of doing that, you're taking stuff that people want and bringing it near to them. And so some of the wealthiest people in the world, like the Walton family, they took retailing.
Vector 37 Foxtrot, that Boeing 712 is currently at your 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock and 5 miles turning eastbound, climbing out of 3,900, no factor.
Yep, we have traffic at site 37 Foxtrot.
Right.
They took retailing to a new level, buying low in quantity, managing their inventory very precisely, and then bringing goods to the common person all across America. And then Amazon, Jeff Bezos, he took it to another level where he's got products from all over the world, and you can just click the mouse and bam, it's there. You don't even have to.
Hello, Sky 3683, 7000 smooth.
You don't have to leave your house.
3683, Great Lakes approach, altimeter Flint 3048. Good afternoon.
3048?
You can do all your Christmas shopping in one day, all right, from Amazon. So these guys have made a lot of money now.
Vector 37 Foxtrot, contact Detroit approach on 132.35 today.
132.35, 37 Foxtrot.
There are skills that are required to make a lot of money this way. First one is to recognize value. I got a friend of mine that makes a good living selling rare books, religious sermons from old preachers, and he recognizes value. He's become an expert in books and Americana memorabilia and those kind of things, and he makes a good living on eBay just selling these things. He recognizes value. The next thing you have to do is not just buy low, because you have to sell. So you have to create a market. There has to be a demand for what you have. You have to have a marketing plan, an inventory control plan, and a plan that delivers it to the marketplace. So buying low, selling high is the third way to create value. Now, I want to talk about the mindset because wealth, as I mentioned last week, is first created in the mind. And when you study wealthy people and when you fly airplanes for a while, you realize that the rich people are the ones in the back seat. And so they help me see that rich people think differently. Those who are wealth creators, they think differently on a lot of different areas, and I just want to talk about two
so
today.
2396, clear direct Hornet, climb maintain 10,000, contact Detroit approach 132.02.
I just want to talk...
3202, climb now to 10,000 and direct to Hornet, Delta 2396.
People keep interrupting me. So I want to talk about two important mindsets. The first one is that wealthy people think differently than the average person about risk. Regarding risk, in the Christian community, we don't handle risk very well.
Traffic, 12 o'clock, high, 4 miles.
Oh, I got him. Okay, so the wealthy think differently, first of all, about risk and taking risks. They're not afraid to put capital at risk to see if they can create wealth. Now, in the Christian community, sometimes we should be taking risks because we have this parable of Jesus and the talents, and he is mad at the one who buried his talent. Instead of putting it at risk and giving a go at it, he buried it because he was afraid. He was living out of fear instead of trusting in his master. And so we as Christians, I'm not saying that we should take imprudent or unwise risks, but we shouldn't be burying our talents and burying our resources. Also in the Christian community, we don't handle failure very well because we think if you failed, somehow you either sinned or you didn't hear from God.
Skyhawk 3 over, approaching Skyhawk 3 Golf Delta, contact approach 126.45.
2645 Golf Delta.
Skyhawk Thursday 3 contact Detroit approach 126.85.
2685, Skywas 3683, good day.
Great Lakes approach, 23 Golf Delta's up with you.
23 Golf Delta, Great Lakes approach, second altimeter 3047.
047. So, back to risk. In the Christian community, we don't handle it very well. And we have to get past that. Failure is not fatal in the kingdom. And God is a God of grace. And sometimes when we fail, maybe we did mess up. Or maybe we didn't hear perfectly, or we were unwise. It doesn't matter. God is gracious, and He's guiding us all along the way. And we should learn from those failures. Failure is not fatal. It's feedback in the kingdom of God. He's a good dad. And when our kids fail, we don't hammer them for it. We help them. We want them to learn from it. So, I'll give you a for instance. I've run across a lot of Christians that are afraid to invest in high-quality mutual funds because they think they could lose all their money. Now, it is true that you can lose money investing, but let me point this out to you. If you have excess money beyond your emergency fund, beyond a few months' expenses in case something happens, if you have money beyond that level that's tied up in your savings account because you're afraid you're going to lose it, you want to put it in a safe place. Actually, what's happening is you're losing money. It's a guaranteed way to lose money because inflation, this is big now, inflation is taking 2 to 3% of your money every year. And if your money is not making more than 2 to 3%, and I guarantee you if it's in a savings account, you're happy to get 1%. If it's not making beyond 2 to 3%, then you're losing money every year. It's a guaranteed loss. So what you're trying to accomplish is save your money, but you're actually losing your money because you're afraid to put any of it at risk. What you're doing, now watch, what you're doing is you're growing poorer safely. You're being safe, but really, the inflation monster is gnawing away 2 to 3% of your money every year. You have to find investments that can beat 3%. Otherwise, you're losing. You're losing that money. So I'll tell you a story. A few years ago when I taught this class, there was a lady who had some excess money in her account, her savings account. Her mindset was, hey, I just want to preserve this. I don't care if I make any here. I just want to preserve it. And when I told her that you were not preserving it, you're actually losing money, 2 to 3% a year, a light bulb went off with her. And she was a great student in the class. She learned and she grew, and she took some of that money and she invested it. And in the last 3 years, the market has been historically fantastic. And she came to me just a couple weeks ago, and she told me this story about how she invested this money because of what she learned in the class. And her money made money. Her money grew. And she felt the Lord say, because you learned about this in church, that the surplus, not the principal that she invested, but the surplus that the money made, she should give to the church. And that person gave a large donation to the Living Hope Building Fund because of what she had learned and her obedience to God. So it's exactly what we want, learning these things and then growing. Now, I can't guarantee that every investment is going to succeed, but that's where risk and failure and learning and being wise and taking prudent risks comes in. But the first step is to say, I'm actually losing money if I'm not investing beyond my emergency fund and the things that you need to live. So, wealthy people think differently about risk. The second mindset change is in what's called leverage. They think all the time, how can I leverage my time and my talent and my treasure so that it can accomplish more every day or every year. Like a lever accomplishes more. It applies more force because that force is multiplied. So they think leverage, and one of the ways they do this is that they think about what's called opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is this sense. I wish somebody would have told me this in high school. Opportunity cost is the sense that when I have $1 and I spend that $1, I lose the opportunity to do something else with it. Another way that wealthy people think is leverage. How can I take my resources and lever them to accomplish more? How can I use my time and talent treasure to accomplish more than maybe what I could do by myself? And investments leverage those things. And one of the ways they think is opportunity cost. So every $1 they have, they look for opportunities for that $1 to go to work. And they don't miss opportunity costs. I wish someone in high school would have taught me this. It's so important. And for instance, when I was a youth pastor, a lot of the kids really wanted great stereo systems. They had junky cars, but they had pounding, killer stereo systems. And they really loved that. They spent a lot of money doing that. Now let's take, for instance, Matilda. Matilda wants a great stereo system. It's going to cost her $500, just for the sake of numbers. So she goes and she says, well, I really don't have $500. And they say, well, listen, we'll finance it for you. You can just pay.
Approach Skyhawk 4281 Quebec.
Okay, so Matilda's lost money 3 ways. The first way is depreciation. At the end of 5 years, her stereo system is nearly worthless. Maybe it's worth $50. So she's lost $450. Then she lost money on the finance charges, the interest charged on the loan, and then thirdly, she lost the opportunity for that $500 to grow into a crop of money. She could have invested that money, and if she gained 10% over those 5 years, she would have gained more money. But she lost that opportunity by buying something that depreciates. So we have to be careful. I know we have to buy things that depreciate. Cars depreciate. Sometimes houses will. Certainly the food we eat. But we need those things. I'm not saying that you have to spend all your stuff on things that appreciate. We have to live. But how much can we save to invest?
November 23 Golf Delta, approach, radar check.
Yeah, go ahead. 23 Golf Delta.
Just in the see my radar still works.
So when we look at our money, I want you to think of them as seeds. Some seeds you have to eat because you have to live. But other seeds should be planted in investments. One of the 4 investment classes. Education. Now, education is important because you learn to solve harder problems. However, if you spend $100,000 on a degree that doesn't have any demand for solving those problems, unless you had it to spend, that could be a waste of money. So if you're pursuing a liberal arts degree in Russian dance history, I don't know. Can you make a living doing that? Does it pay well? I think one of the important things we should do for our college kids is when they look at spending $100,000 or more on a college degree, what could they do with that money otherwise? Could they invest it? Could they start a business? Could they get their education other ways? Could they have a trade instead or go to a trade school? Instead of just saying we should get a college degree, let's assess our degrees regarding the demand of those who have that degree and who can solve those problems. So I'm not against education. I think it's important. But we shouldn't just do it blindly because college can be quite a racket. And there's a lot of kids graduating with a lot of debt, and they're only making $30,000 a year with a bachelor's degree, and they just spent $150,000 to make that money. And now they have to live with the big student loan debt. So assess the degree. Are you solving problems that are in demand? And is the education that you're getting going to help you solve harder problems? Then the second thing we need to look at is I got to eat some of my seeds, and then 3 other investment classes. There's education, there is stocks and bonds, the financial markets, and real estate, and there's business ownership. So those are the 4 asset classes. Look at taking opportunities and not missing the cost. The missing cost, because I spent the money on dumb things like I did when I was a kid, I missed the opportunity of sowing those seeds in some kind of investment that would produce a good return. And so when I get back home, I'm going to film just some specific ideas we can look at. One of the best ways to free up income is to quit a vice, quit a habit that's harming you anyway, and in the process that frees up cash that you can invest. And so I'm going to use an investment calculator that will kind of show you how you can, over the long term, take those seeds, some of those seeds, and invest them. Because what we suffer from is near-term bias. Because the pain of going without something is felt in the near term. It's felt immediately. However, the gain of having a good net worth or a sense of accomplishment or a good investment, that's 15, 30 years down the road, and sometimes it's hard for us to delay that gratification. And so I'll expand on that as we go, but right now I'm running out of daylight, and I just want to say, love you guys, and I'm going to sign off for now. Godspeed. Hey, thanks for flying with me.
Hey everybody, thanks for flying with me yesterday, and I just want to follow up here as we close this session with a throw out to the Dave Ramsey investment calculator as we talk about opportunity cost. And in your notes there, you'll see that there's a number of exercises that you can do to kind of show the power of investing as we have to eat some of our seeds, but then how many of them can we plant in good investment soil so that for the future they'll be great. And so Jordan and Renee are going to walk you through those exercises, and I want you to use that investment calculator as kind of a means of inspiration. Then also, we're going to finish the class tonight by looking at a great speech given by Dr. Ben Carson, who's now serving, I think, in the Cabinet of the United States. But we're going to look at a speech while he was a brain surgeon and how he learned to increase his ability to add value to people and solve very difficult problems like cutting heads apart. And so those are really difficult problems. However, we may never reach that level of solving those problems, but we can learn from his example and from his journey. And so I want you to enjoy that speech And also, I've got some notes there for you that you can use, and anything else that inspires you, you can just write on that paper. So anyway, I'm in DC right now, and I look forward to seeing you. When I return, we'll talk more about investments, and then also Roby Isaac is going to share about how to increase your income, how you grow personally, and then also how to strategically ask for raises. So that's next week. All right, Godspeed. I'll see you on Sunday.